Taylor Sheridan's critically acclaimed Western drama Yellowstone is one of the most popular prestige dramas of the last decade, but the spin-offs that it spawned are even better in some ways. Beginning in 2018, Yellowstone reintroduced the Western drama to modern audiences via the Dutton family, which is led by a fifth-generation rancher who fights to keep his massive ranch out of the hands of land developers, the nearby Native American tribes, and occasionally the state government. The prequel series 1883 and 1923 follow earlier generations of the Dutton family as they fight for survival and success in the American West. Yellowstone will wrap up with Season 5, Part 2 in November 2024, and after that the franchise's attention will shift towards its various spin-offs and sequel series. While Yellowstone may have kicked off the story of the Duttons, it quickly became regarded as the worst show in its own franchise to some, as the two prequel series were almost universally acclaimed. While different franchise fans may rank the three series differently, it's clear that 1883 and 1923 outshine the original series in at least a few ways. 1883 and 1923 have tighter, more dramatic plots. The prequels benefit from more focused storylines. Kara screams in anguish in 1923. The scope of Yellowstone is obviously far different from its prequels. There are many more separate character groups and plotlines that need to be wound into the overarching narrative. As a result, Yellowstone can occasionally feel somewhat meandering as the characters are immersed in the rancher life that the show lauds from the mountains of Montana. In lieu of continuing with a particularly intriguing story, time will be spent with characters as they learn the ins and outs of reining and slide stops, for example. That simply isn't the case with 1883 and 1923. Both shows operate on a much tighter timeline than Yellowstone from a TV perspective, as 1883 was only one season and 1923 will stop after two. Because of that urgency, the stories that unfold are much more focused and precise. There aren't different groups to check in on and perspectives to explore, there is only the central conflict that the Dutton family endures. That makes for higher levels of drama that build quickly and sustain. 1883 benefits in more ways than one from its period setting, but perhaps the most important is how much darker and grittier it is than Yellowstone. The Sam Elliott-led drama series pulls no punches when it comes to the perils of traveling across the American Old West, and every snake bite, sickness, and Native American arrow is depicted as dangerous, if not deadly. Death is a traveling companion of the Duttons of 1883, as much a part of the cast as Elsa Dutton or Shea Brennan. It achieves a level of darkness that even Yellowstone never quite realizes, although it certainly has its low points, all the way to its conclusion. 1883 never lets its foot off the gas, and ultimately ends in unthinkable tragedy. As much as the humor of the ranchers or the mean comments of Beth are appreciated in Yellowstone, 1883 manages to exist as a different beast entirely when it comes to grittiness. 1883 and 1923 are more authentically Western as period dramas. The prequels capture many beloved Western elements that Yellowstone misses. Thomas and Shea with James and Elsa Dutton all stare into the distance while on horses, in 1883. Yellowstone certainly classifies as a Western drama with its sweeping vistas and cowboy action, but given its contemporary setting, it misses many of the classic elements that people love about Westerns. Yellowstone's boardroom battles and barroom brawls are exciting, but they don't necessarily scratch the itch for those who love Westerns for the six-gun shootouts and saloon showdowns. More than almost any other genre, Westerns have an established and beloved set of tropes that people enjoy, and while Yellowstone brings some of them to the modern era, it isn't quite the same. 1883 in particular hits many of the marks that Yellowstone misses given its setting in the Old West. The wagon train action, the battles against Native American warriors, and the varied Western landscapes are all as authentically Western as possible. 1923 moves the timeline up a bit but still hits many of the familiar tropes, and comes across as far more authentically Western than Yellowstone.